Hey there, welcome to The Hot Slice, the weekly podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I'm your host, Jeremy White, and today we have the rare pleasure of having not one, but two others joining me today. We've got executive editor Denise Greer, and Josh, your title changes all the time. What's your new title now?
Denise says that a lot.
I say it all the time.
It's senior creative director. So write it
Senior
down.
creative director.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Write it down. Tattoo it on your forehead. Josh Cowan.
He's a senior now. You get that
I am
right.
a senior.
Like,
I am a
he's
senior.
senior
I'm feeling
now.
very senior. That's for sure.
Your AARP packet will come in the mail tomorrow.
Still younger than both of you guys, but yeah, I'm still feeling very senior. Okay.
All right. So
well,
what's bringing?
We're all together today, Denise. We've got a little mailbag. We've had lots of questions come in to us via email, social media channels recently, and every once in a while, we like to just sit down and kind of answer some of the questions that come in from our readers, which is always a lot of fun.
All right. What's that burning first question?
Yeah.
Excited. I'm ready to answer them.
All right. So the first question, and I'm going to let you answer this one first because you're working very heavily on a project related to it right now. Okay.
Okay.
The first question from Sam in Texas is, did you guys really create National Pizza Month? Yes, we did.
Absolutely, we did. It was created with the magazine in 1984, but it was not designated by Congress until 1987. So yes, Pizza Today created National Pizza Month, and we're going to have a toolkit rolling out within a week or so that'll give operators a lot of resources to be able to promote themselves and get their customers excited about pizza for an entire month. 31 days of pizza. Now, we all know that we celebrate all year long, but it is a tangible way for you to attach it to a national designation.
And not to be confused with National Pizza Day. We have
No,
nothing to
that's
do
in
with
February.
National Pizza. We celebrate it, of course, but that was not created by us. But it was National Pizza Month. That's all Pizza Today.
You know, every day you can open up the calendar. Every single day is something. Maybe it's National Jelly Donut Day, or National Left-Handers Day, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Josh. There's always something, but it's really cool to think that in 1984, not us, we were on the schoolyard in 84, right? We were dominating the dodgeball scene at the playground, but
Foursquare.
Yeah, in 1984, Pizza Today magazine's like, I declare October National Pizza Month. And then 3 years later, the United States Congress is like, yeah, fam, got you. It is National Pizza Month, right? That's really, really cool. No one else can lay claim to that. An entire month is dedicated to the world's most delicious, popular, beloved food. And that's because of Pizza Day magazine. So Sam in Texas, to answer your question, yes, we absolutely did create National Pizza Month.
Yeah.
Right. Bacon just gets a day. Hamburgers gets a day. Twinkie just gets a day. But pizza gets a whole month.
Whole month.
Deserves a whole month. And so did you know that within National Pizza Month, there are a couple of like pizza days too, because there's Pizza with Sausage Day in National Pizza Month. And then there's World Pizza Maker Day within National Pizza Month. So we've got some,
and the finale is Halloween, which is always one of the biggest pizza days of the year. So
absolutely. I mean, what I love about October is it really kicks off those 5 busiest days in pizzerias. And so it's a good lead in to just increase sales. I mean, we all know what the late fall sales are like in pizzerias, then going into winter, and then that little lull, but then you get Super Bowl Sunday. So it's October is just a great time to celebrate that. And I just love October. October is my favorite.
Same.
I think it's Jeremy's favorite month. It's just, there's so much going on. I love fall. I love all that October offers. And the fact that we also celebrate pizza in October is amazing. And we also have PP&E in October.
That's right. Atlantic City. Register now, right?
Yeah.
Register right now.
Right now.
Pause it right now.
So if you don't know what we're talking about with PP&E, that is Pizza and Pasta Northeast.
Yeah, around the
very-
office we say PPE because it's just much easier, and emails and all that. It's PPE.
Right.
So-
Yeah. I think the web address now is ppne.pizzatoday.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
I still go to Pizza and Pasta Show or Pizza and Pasta
Yeah,
Expo.
right.
it routes there. Everything routes, everything goes. So
Go
so it
register.
works.
Finish
Yeah.
this podcast first because it's going to be highly entertaining. And then
Yeah.
after you finish this podcast, register to attend Pizza and Pasta Northeast in Atlantic City. Register today. Do not delay.
And Jeremy, I don't think you know this, but Josh and I made the executive decision to bring the hot slice to PPNE, like
Yep.
to do a boots on the ground, get a microphone in people's face on the
Yep.
show floor.
Old school
and-
journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That on the street kind of,
Yeah. On the carpet.
On
We're
the
gonna
carpet.
be
Yeah.
On the carpet.
I
On
like
the
Denise,
it.
carpet
you
interviews.
mentioned, because
Red
we are
carpet
going very shortly. We are going into the prime time, right?
Mhm.
Showtime for pizzerias. You had mentioned the 5 busiest days of the year that are coming up. And for those who are listening who may not now, like if you own a pizzeria, shame on you if you don't know this because you
Yeah.
need to prepare for it. But those days are chronologically, if we begin in the fall and filter into the new year, those days are Halloween, the day before Thanksgiving,
Yep.
New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a string of them. They're all together. They all make sense as to days that you want to staff appropriately, make sure you have appropriate inventory on hand, and that
Mhm.
you want to promote. Look,
Got
sometimes
an article coming out about that too.
we do, and sometimes, and it's understandable. Sometimes you may hear a stat that, hey, the day before Thanksgiving, our sales are going to be up 35%. We're busy, we're understaffed. It's already hard to handle that rush, that volume. So why would we market that day? Because we're already going to be up. We're already going to have a hard time handling volume. We don't want to market it and be up 60% and then fail by not properly servicing our customers. And there's something to be said for that. And I
Mhm.
understand that. And if you're a brand new pizzeria, then you don't know what you're in for. And I get it. But if you've been in business for a while, you know how to handle busy periods, busy days. You know how, again, to staff accordingly, how to set your inventory pars. These days are all far enough out that why be content with a 20% sales increase on the day before Thanksgiving as compared to your typical Wednesday? Wednesday is a slow day anyway. Why be satisfied with the 35% sales increase that day as compared to a typical Wednesday? Why not really promote that day and really sell out and try to completely maximize your sales for that day? Why
Because
not?
you're losing a day that week anyway. You're losing Thursday.
Right, because no one's coming to order from you on Thanksgiving. You're probably not even open on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And with those busy sales days, you have opportunities to change things up. Now, because it's coming, you can do things like adjust your menus accordingly. You can do things like pre-prepping, making sure that everything's firing. You can make sure that your staff that you are overstaffed, and then you can release people if you die down. Right. But if you go in, here's a funny story. Okay, so I went to a food truck event, right? And now food trucks are a little different, but what was funny is they advertised this food truck event like crazy. There happened to be a pizza truck there. The pizza truck, I kid you not, sold out of dough in the first hour and a half. This thing went on for 7 hours.
Yeah.
So that's a cautionary tale. Like, dude, prepare. If you have too much dough, it's okay. You're going to be able to use it. That's, you're going to be able to move forward. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I've got another good question. This comes from Lydia in the state of Virginia. Now we're going to be careful when we answer this, okay? Because we're not going to mention brand names. We're not going to promote one brand over another or anything like that. It's a question we get a lot, and it's a tricky question, but we're expert on how to answer this, so we're good.
Okay.
I am thinking of opening my first pizzeria. What kind of oven should I get? Loaded question.
Yeah.
All right,
What kind of
Lydia, first
pizza
things
are you
first.
serving?
That's my first question. What kind
Exactly
of pizza are you
right. What kind of are you doing a Neapolitan pizza? Are you doing a thin tavern style pizza? Are you doing
Yeah.
a Detroit style? So you have to. The question never should. The starting question should never be, what equipment should I get? The starting question is, what product am I going for? What style of pizza?
Yeah.
What other food items, right? Because maybe you need a fryer, maybe you don't, maybe you need a grill, right? Maybe you don't. So you have to determine what kind of menu, what kind of pizzeria do you want to be? What kind of menu do you want to serve your customers?
And
So
from
more
there, it all falls into place.
specifically,
Yeah.
what style of pizza?
Yeah.
And then once you know your style of pizza, from there, maybe you need a wood burning oven. Maybe you need a gas or an electric fired deck, right? Maybe you need a rotating, but you have to have your style of pizza. Lydia, you have to know first
Yeah.
what you want to serve. Because look, if you want to serve a Detroit style, or if you want to serve a Neapolitan style, you're going to use two different, or a New York style, three completely different ovens right there for the most part.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm going to expand on this a little bit, because I think that some people get in and they think, well, I just want to get in and I want to do, a small deck, two-tier deck oven. And then they don't realize that, what are your goals? Where do you want to sit in 5 years with your operation? How much pizza do you want to roll out? First, you need to know, where's your break-even point? Like, how much pizza do you need to make in order to stay in business with everything, your prime costs, your labor costs, food costs? Like, how much pizza are you going to need to serve? Because that's going to say what the capacity of the oven that you're going to get. So if you're getting, whether you're doing conveyor, deck, wood burning, whatever you're going to do, because that is a huge infrastructure issue. If you're talking about your kitchen and your flow, because your oven is going to take up the most space in your kitchen. And if you're going wood fired, coal oven, those kinds of things, then you're also talking about, you're going to have to rip out part of your building, or not build or expand that portion of your building so that you can put the oven in first. Those questions, so you've really got to sit and do the math first.
There are a lot of things I see, Denise, that you like. For example, the number of pizzerias I've seen that have imported really beautiful, expensive, heavy ovens, and then didn't realize that they had to come in and totally reinforce the flooring underneath where the oven was going to sit. And that's an additional expense that the owner originally didn't plan on or allocate in his or her budget. Look, there are always going to be surprises, and we get that, but you want to minimize the surprises, because every surprise costs you thousands upon thousands of dollars that you weren't planning on spending. Most new restaurants are unfortunately undercapitalized. Denise, another common thing that I'm glad you brought up, you want to plan for future growth. Ideally, 3 years from now, your business will be stronger and bigger than it is today. And 10 years from now, it'll be, quadruple what it is today, if all goes well, right? So you have to plan. When you're planning your equipment in your kitchen, it's not just what volume of business can I handle today, but if I service my customers well and I market well and I consistently put out a good product, I'm probably going to be 2 to 3 times busier 3 years from now than I am today. How will you handle that volume? So if you have an oven that will allow you to make, I don't know, let's just say 50 pizzas in 1 hour. And that very well might be sufficient for right now. But 3 years from now, it may not be sufficient. And you may not have room to bring in another oven at that point, or you have got to drastically redo your kitchen plan. So plan for your growth. Don't just plan for what you'll do today. Build in your projections, build in growth, because ideally, like, no one opens a business like, I'll be out of business in 2 years, no problem, right? You're in it for the long haul. So definitely keep that in mind.
And if I could go a little further with that, because she's talking about opening her own business. There's one more key ingredient that you need to plan for that is massive. And we're talking storage. We're talking refrigeration. Refrigeration is probably, from what I hear from operators, it is the biggest mistake that they make, is going with too small of a refrigeration or having to backtrack and try to figure out a commissary because they do not have sufficient refrigeration on site. Because
well
if you
said.
have nowhere to put your dough, then you can't do the volume that you want to do because you have no dough storage. Then you've already kind of lost, and you have to spend a lot more money in order to make that money up. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, obviously a massive walk-in cooler that, can house all your ingredients and your beer and everything. Obviously it's a massive expense.
Yeah,
They're huge,
sure.
they're costly, right? Versus a tiny reach in.
Yeah.
The tiny reach in can only hold so much, and you'll find yourself limiting yourself very quickly if you
That's a
don't
low ceiling for sure. It's a low
Yeah.
ceiling for sure. If you're pretty much saying, hey, we're only going to do this much forever if we do that. So
do you want
I
to
totally agree.
do you want to invest to be very small, or do you want to invest to be $1 million pizzeria? There's no, like, you have to decide where you want to be. If you want to invest to be very small, then you can do that kind of stuff. But if you're looking for growth and you're looking for opportunity to make a higher sales volume, then you have to plan for that volume.
Absolutely.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. Bacio is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, a decade of exceptional Italian pizza cheese, unmatched consistency, and partners that have become family. If you haven't had the chance to try it, purchase Bacio today and enroll in the Gold Club to receive cash back for every pound you buy. That's right, get rewarded for every single pound of cheese purchased. Schedule a demonstration at baciocheese.com/hotslice to learn more. Pizza is your legacy. Build it with Bacio. Looking to grow your pizzeria or restaurant? Then you'll want to try the power of a cloud-based POS system. With Hunger Rush, you'll get everything you need. This fully integrated restaurant management system allows you to easily streamline operations, accelerate the delivery process, and grow your business through Hunger Rush 360 marketing. And it's so easy to use. Want AI-powered text ordering? It's built in. Need to track orders? No problem. Schedule a personalized demo at hungerrush.com today.
I laughed when this email came through.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Scott in St. Louis asked, why does Jeremy hate St. Louis style pizza so much? So, all right, look, I'm going to admit.
The Provel, man.
I'm going to admit, St. Louis, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm a hater. I love the Arch. All right, you all have a fantastic baseball stadium. Even though I'm a Cubs fan, props to your baseball stadium. Your hockey games are fun. There are a lot of great things about St. Louis. Your pizza, I'm sorry, your pizza's not one of them to me. Okay,
I don't think you've had good St. Louis style, Jeremy.
Can we put his email address down here, by the way?
Yeah. Oh, you need to blast Jeremy at jwhite@pizzatoday.com.
No. Hear me out.
St. Louis style.
Hear me out, St. Louis. Hear me out, Cardinal fans. There is outstanding pizza in St. Louis. I've had fantastic pizza in St. Louis. Just none of it has been St. Louis style. That's all. It's the Provel cheese, guys.
Provel is an acquired taste.
There's a sour, a tang. It's a different. It's probably an acquired taste, and I ain't acquiring it. Right.
A lot of people substitute it. So is that a true St. Louis style if you substitute it? Because they're even so.
No.
Offer you the option. Hey, do you want Provel or do you want our Mott's and provolone mix versus having standard?
No. Denise, all right, here I'm substituting I'm substituting my normal dough for 48-ounce behemoth dough that I'm putting in
No.
the pan. It's gonna be this thick. Is
Cheese
that
is
New York
different,
style?
man.
No,
Cheese
it's
is
not.
different.
If it doesn't have Provel, it's not St. Louis style
So
pizza.
we had this conversation about Detroit. So
That's different.
So what are you saying? If people use white cheddar versus brick, then it can't be considered Detroit.
It's
So with
Detroit-esque.
St. Louis, so with St. Louis,
It's Detroit-like.
if you don't use Provel, is it St. Louis? It's still you're still following the other tenets of St. Louis
Okay.
style, right?
Okay, so Denise, I'm going to
But
use a
that's the
large
main
national
thing,
chain.
right?
I'm going to use a large national chain as an example.
Just being
Pizza
devil's
Hut.
advocate here.
Pizza Hut. So I walk into a
Okay.
Pizza Hut franchise in St. Louis and I get a pan pizza, but I'm in St. Louis. So is it St. Louis style pizza, Denise?
No. I'm talking about the actual style. Like if you're at a St.
Well, then,
Louis style pizza.
Okay. If it doesn't have
Pizzeria.
Provel, it's not, it might be St. Louis like, it might be St. Louis-esque.
Okay.
It's not
What's the
St.
what's
You're
the
a
most
purist,
predominant?
I got it.
What's the most predominant feature on a St. Louis style? It's probably the cheese, right?
Party,
That's
the
what.
party cut
Well,
and
oh,
the
come
thin
on,
crust party
Denise.
cut.
people have Midwest has the party cut. That's not. That's
Yeah.
not like they don't own that. It's
Yeah,
the cheese that sets them
Provel.
apart, right?
Yeah,
Right.
true. All
All right, so
Right.
I'm going to put both you guys on
Fine.
the spot too, because let's not lie and act like I'm only a hater, because neither one of you two really love it either.
No, not at all.
No, I didn't grow up
Sorry.
in St. Louis,
No,
but,
here's the
but
thing.
I can appreciate it. I can appreciate it.
Here's
Why
the
am I
thing.
the hater? I'll tell you, it's because I'm a Cubs fan and everyone knows it. And so the St. Louis people are out to get me.
Well, when I first moved to Louisville, I hated bourbon. Ugh. But now
Yeah,
I
that's
love
fair
bourbon.
enough.
It's an acquired taste.
I
Yeah.
still hate
And,
bourbon. Sorry, Kentucky.
I love bourbon now. But maybe if I moved to St. Louis 6 years from now, I would enjoy it. But that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's an acquired taste. I think people love it. And if people love it, then that's
all that
all
matters.
we need.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. Whoa. Slow down. St. Louis, I forgot though. I do love you all for some fried ravioli. That is good. Denise, we've had this conversation. I
not
love
had that.
fried ravioli. That's good stuff. And that came right from the Hill District in St. Louis. So
Yeah.
there's your culinary claim to fame right there, St. Louis.
Yeah, I do like some toasted ravioli.
Yeah, toasted ravioli. Call it what you want. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So I think we've exhausted the St. Louis conversation. I don't
Sorry,
think there's
St. Louis.
any more that we can talk about with St. Louis. I do like me some thin crust, party cut, because that's what I grew up on. But I grew up on Chicago
St. Louis
then.
style article recently, didn't we, Denise?
Yes, we did.
So, I mean, look, just because I don't personally love the style, I don't know how, we still promote it. We still write about it.
Yeah, it's still a regional style that people are just gravitating towards. So yeah, why not?
Speaking of regional styles, before we move on, is there any under the radar regional styles right now that either of you either are kind of discovering or falling in love with or think might be the next big, right now it's Detroit is so hot still, even though it's been happening for a number of years.
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna unseat Detroit for the next?
I mean,
we've had that conversation, haven't we, Josh?
we had it with Tony, and I totally agree with him.
I agree.
The tavern style.
Tavern style. Everyone.
up.
So I'll look on Instagram, because a lot of pizza makers, they put their behind the scenes of what they're developing. And you know what I see a lot of? People developing a tavern style. Now, the big change is, tavern is very simple. There isn't a lot of, long fermentation. There's not, it's thin. It's got, it's not really crackery, but it's one of those styles that people are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But so a lot of people in the Midwest, which we all know,
right,
make the mistake.
So that's what I grew up on.
Yeah, a lot of people in the Midwest, they make the mistake and they decide that they're going to dump just a lot of toppings on that thin party cut pizza. And you know what? You can't do that. All you're going to get is a nasty gum line, like I see in a lot of taverns. So if you are going to test tavern, stop loading it with cheese and toppings. Just try a couple of different ounce variations just to make sure that you're not getting, that gum line, because we don't want it. And tavern is one that you can cook on deck. You can cook in a conveyor. So it's a versatile crust, which means a lot of people can try it, which makes it a little easier. Now you're not going to be able to put it into a wood-fired oven and expect it to cook because it's just
Right.
it's not going to do it. But because you can cook it in a couple of different options of ovens, that's going to open it up to grow a little more than some of the other pizzas.
Yeah, it's definitely the most appealing style if you want to bring a second style into your, people are adding
Agree.
styles to the
And it's
menu left and right.
easier.
Agree.
So yeah, so that, as far as styles go, that's definitely the most appealing to me if I were bringing in a second style.
Yeah, you won't have to bring in any new equipment. You could argue if you wanted to sheet it to make it thin enough, but you can get it plenty thin without equipment if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You won't have to bring in no matter what oven you already have, you wouldn't have to change your oven out. There's, I grew up on that pizza and I love it to this day. And like Josh said earlier, it was originated as bar food, and tavern owners in Chicago made it really salty. They put a lot of sausage and they made it salty on purpose because if it's salty, you're going to be thirsty and you're going to buy more beer from me. And it's just cool to think that something so simple and with such a humble beginning, which we see time and time and time repeat itself in pizza anyway. Very humble beginning, very simple, and maybe it is going to be the next big thing, very possibly so.
Another one that could come up to the rise, which it's not gaining ground as much as tavern, and it's not really a single regional style, but it's the idea that we have so much creativity and so many young operators coming into the market that that are wanting to do their own thing, that they're mixing and blending styles and changing them up, so they're creating their own unique version. So I talk to operators and I'll ask them, I'll be like, well, what's your style? Well, it's kind of but it's this, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of that, of people not picking and choosing a regional style, but saying, okay, I really love a grandma, but I really like a thick Sicilian, or I really like a New York, but I also like an American pan, so how can I find the middle ground that my customers will love? I think that's a wave that's been happening. It's been happening before the pandemic. It's, and it's one that's just increasing. I think Neopolitan kind of started the trend, and California started the trend. And now it's just, people are coming up with their own versions of what they dig.
I love it. I value creativity and I applaud it. And many pizza styles have such strict tenets to which you need to adhere in order to qualify it as that style. So let's just talk Neapolitan, just because it's very easy to kind of single Neapolitan out for kind of its rigid guidelines of, having to use a specific type of flour and having to bake it a certain way. Everything is well defined with Neapolitan pizza, but as our friend and contributor Scott Wiener will point out, and sometimes people label Scott a Neapolitan hater, and it's far from the truth. He loves Neapolitan pizza, but if you work specifically within those guidelines and those parameters, there's nothing wrong with that. But what Scott points out is Neapolitan pizza was done that way, utilizing the ingredients that they utilize, all because that's what was available locally in the Naples area.
Yeah.
They used what was local, fresh, and available. And so if you really want to get to the heart, the essence, the spirit of Neapolitan pizza, if you live in Iowa and you're utilizing produce that's grown locally, you're using, let's say beef from Iowa on your pizza. No, by no means. No, obviously you're not making a Neapolitan pizza, but you are following the spirit that defines Neapolitan. You are utilizing what's locally available, what's fresh, what's on hand. And that's a trend across the country right now, as we all know anyway. Chefs all across the world really are focusing on hyper local, hyper seasonal ingredients, things like that. But that's really the defining spirit of Neapolitan, is that it's what is local, fresh, and that's what you can get your hands on.
And speaking of the one of the examples of this is kind of creating their own styles, Rocky Schenauer at Park Street Pizza. When I when I
Yeah.
visited them, I was like, wow, this is just
What
a
is
difference.
this?
This is great,
Yeah.
but I can't put my finger on what is it.
What is
So
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Park Street pizza. It's Park Street
Yeah.
pizza. That's all I can say. I mean, it's it's kind of a pan, but also kind of, I don't know, classic American. I don't know. It's just interesting pizza, and that's one example of somebody just kind of creating their own style.
See, these
Yeah.
kids today, they're out there making
Yeah.
up their own rules.
Making
They're
their
going
own rules.
crazy. No respect for tradition. I love it. I
Yeah.
love that. I love, like, look, we do a flour blends seminar at Pizza Expo and PP&E. So another plug for PP&E coming up in October. You can sit down, you can listen to Peter Reinhardt and John Gutekunst talk about blending various flours.
That'll be interesting. It'll be
Two
an
of the best.
It'll
awesome
be very
conversation.
entertaining.
Yeah.
And if you want to
Passionate.
nerd out on some good blended flour talk, there's nowhere else in the world you want to be. But the
Yeah.
point is, there are no rules. There don't need to be rules. Pizza is the most highly customizable dish on the planet.
Yeah.
When you roll out a skin, it's a blank canvas. Am I going to put pesto on it? Am I going to put tomato on it? Am I going to put Alfredo? You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Meat, no meat, tons of meats, vegan. You can do anything you want. It's like
Yeah.
when an artist, grabs his or her easel and mixes red and brown together and starts painting, right? There are no rules.
Yeah.
Do whatever the heck you want. And these young up and coming pizza makers that are experimenting and are blending and blurring the lines between styles, it's
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah. There's a cautionary thing happening right now too. And I see it on Instagram. I see it on TikTok. Is that, okay, so you have some of these home pizza makers and the really creative folks coming up with these interesting styles. And a lot of them are like super, super, super high hydration. Like, I mean, insane high hydration. And what they're doing is pizzerias are like, well, that's beautiful. I want to put that in my kitchen. And then they realize that the practicality of bringing in something with such high hydration is not feasible for a high volume, high intense, kitchen line like that. They can't make it happen. So that's the one thing, is as you're looking at these styles and trends, be aware that some of these people, they're just making that one pizza. They don't necessarily, they're not making 100 of those a day,
right,
or 200 of those a day for customers.
Point,
they're just making one. So that's kind of my warning to folks as they're experimenting with styles is, trust that if you're going to look at a style, get the feedback from pizzeria folks, because you want to know that it's practical to put into a shop. Because I know, so I went to a pizzeria, I think it was in Arizona somewhere, and he's like, yeah, I want to do Chicago deep dish, but guess what? I have a conveyor oven. So he ended up having to rework his conveyor and got some different attachments, got a thing that he could put down in the middle.
It can be done. You can change the setting.
Yeah, it can be done, but it's going to require you adapting what you have going on. So just know that if you see something cool out there, you really got to test it and know how it's going to apply in your shop.
Yeah. And to your point on the high hydration, Denise, you're right, because when you have a really wet dough, you have to handle with care. You have to be very, very gentle. You can't be rough with it at all. You're trying to keep that air in there, and it's so wet. It's difficult to form. It's difficult to move around. You have to really baby it. And in the Pizza Today test kitchen, we a few years ago went to a super high hydration formula, and for our needs, it's perfect. And it turned out beautiful finished doughs and beautiful crusts and finished pizzas. Really, really beautiful. But we're in a controlled environment to where we are taking our time. And if it takes 20 minutes to form this dough and get this pizza looking right before the bake, no problem. We're going to take a photo of it. We're going to eat it, and we're done. But when it's Friday night, 7 p.m., and from 7
We're
to 10 p.m.,
cranking. Yeah.
you've got to turn out 150, 200 pizzas. You cannot take that time is of the essence. You can't baby a really wet dough like that. So you're right. It's great for food styling. It's great for Instagram. It'll make the most beautiful crust.
Save it for the competitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do a special, if you'd like to introduce it. Specials are a great way to test new. I know people that do at Detroit 1 day a week. So they have other styles, but they're like, hey, I love Detroit. I want to do it.
Say we only have
I can't
30.
handle it.
We only have 30.
Yeah. And so what they do is they pick a low volume day and then they market it.
Bingo.
So they end up getting a huge flood on a Monday or a Tuesday. And then they're like, whoa, all right, sweet.
This is a limited time offer. It's going to be available from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday.
And when they're out, they're out,
And they're 30 total. And that will hopefully create some, it's like we talk about this a lot with Mark. It's the Girl Scout cookie thing, right? If they're on my grocery store shelf 24/7, 12 months out of the year, I'm walking right by them. I'm not even taking a second look at them.
Right.
But because I can only get my Do-si-dos or my Thin Mints at in February, March, or whenever the Girl Scouts are selling, all of a sudden I think I need 18 boxes of Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
And then I probably got 12 in my pantry right now rotting away, but I had to have them because it's the only time you could get them. Right. So
we got to open
it's like the McRib. It's like the McRib, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we need to open this up to our listeners. Okay. So whether it's on social media, whether it's on our platforms, whether you send us a note, or whatever, however you reach out to us, we want to know what style you think is going to be the next big wave. We want to know from your experience and what you're seeing out there in the industry, what do you think is going to be the next big thing in pizza?
I love it. And for those who really love Provel and really just think St. Louis pizza is everything, please send your hate mail to dgreer,
Jeremy,
DGREER at pizzatoday.com.
I already sent them your email. So
it's going to be a highly controversial podcast, and it's just, it's going to make some waves.
All right. Well, I could go all day long. We actually have other questions we can answer, but we are not supposed to have these be too long. So I think that we'll save the other mailbag questions for an upcoming podcast.
We'll do a part 2 soon.
Down the road. Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
I like what we did here, and register for PPNE right now.
That's Pizza and Pasta Northeast in
Yes.
Atlantic City.
See you all in
Atlantic City, New Jersey.
We'll see you there. It's a fun time.
Yep. See ya.
Later.